The Pinball Network is online. Launching.
Pinball Party.
Welcome to episode... Meth sings it better. Welcome to episode 19 of the Pinball Party podcast. Let's fuck. Audibly, of course. I'm not actually giving you a sexual invitation. However, an invitation to this awesome, awesome episode. But we're going to need a few more fucks to get us going. And that should about do it. That's. I think we're probably good. Meth. Hey, we're good. Meth. Hey, meth. Fuck. Dude, we're fucking... We are good to go. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Sorry, Meth.
Eat shit.
This is a very special episode.
Why is that?
Oh, I'll tell you. Thanks for asking. We are now officially sponsored by Flippin' Out Pinball.
Bye. Awesome, Jason.
Yeah, I think so. And you know, joke's on them. I'd be promoting them anyways, because they're a fantastic place to buy pinball machines from.
Right.
Machines, art blades, toppers, you name it. I mean, all of it. They're fantastic to work with. Great people, from Zach to Greg Bowen and support and Nicole. It's a great operation. So anyone out there, if you're looking for new machines or anything pinball related, use Flippin' Out. Bye. I'm very happy to be sponsored by them.
Prove it.
Huh?
Prove it.
What do you mean?
Sing about it.
I'm not going to sing about it.
Make them a fucking jingle.
There's way too many.
Do it.
No, not.
Do it.
No,
Do it.
all right.
Do it.
Give me a second. I'll figure it out. Figure it. No, that's already fucking. Let's see. Okay, I figure it out. Figure it, flipping out. Okay. Okay, I think I got it.
Play it.
Okay, this is your fault.
Do it.
When I buy my pinball shit, I buy from Flippin' Out. From toppers, art blades, premiums, I've got it figured out. Flippin' out, figured out. When I think of pinball, I think flippin' out. Flippin' out, figured out. When I buy, I buy from Flippin' Out. Buy.
That's awesome, Jason.
Aw, thanks, man. Yeah, I guess. Put me on the fucking spot like that.
I love it.
Thank you.
Play it again.
Come on, man.
Do it.
Nah, man.
Do it. Do it. Play it again, you fucker.
All right.
When I buy my pinball shit, I buy from Flippin' Out. From toppers, art blades, premiums, I've got it figured out. Flippin' out, figured out. When I think of pinball, I think flippin' out. Flippin' out, figured out. When I buy from Flippin' Out. Buy.
Fuck yeah.
All right, that's enough. Away you go. If promoting that wasn't enough, I'd like to promote myself. Yeah, actually, joking aside, I just set up a Patreon, a Pinball Party Podcast Patreon. A lot of people had encouraged it, and, you know, honestly, it was about time for myself. But why? Well, as hopefully a lot of listeners can tell, I do put in a lot of time and effort into this podcast, both from a quality and editing standpoint. And I would like to continue doing that, but I only have a finite number of minutes, hours on this earth, and my time is spent doing many things, including work and honestly a lot of audio things outside of this. First and foremost, Neon Dale and recording and actually going back to the studio in a couple weeks and songwriting. I'm busy and I love it. And I really love making this podcast, but honestly, it would really help if some people join the Patreon and help me decide what to actually do with some of that money. I'm not trying to do Patreon to let me make a bunch of money. No, I mean, it's, I want to put it back into the pinball community. Yeah, a little bit to pay for some of the stuff I use, but, frankly, there's 3 tiers, Pro, Premium, LE, as you would. The Pro is really, just to support and say thank you and all that. The middle level premium, you get access to the private Pinball Party Discord where you can help decide what we do with some of this money. And the LE model of Patreon is you can join me once a quarter. Let's talk pinball. You pick the topic and join me. And of course, a couple other perks here or there. And there may be some bonus content, but have to figure that out with the the Pinball Network and all that. But again, there's a Patreon now for Pinball Party. I'm super excited. Let's just start with one Patreon. Right now we're at 0, so let's start with one. That'd be great. And let's do stuff with this pinball money. Oh, what's an idea? Glad you asked because I'm ahead of you. Let's start with one. Have you heard of the PinClash tournament coming up? I have. If you haven't, it's hosted by Carl D'Angelo and IE Pinball. Again, all that. In the past, there was that Avengers, I think it was the Doctor Strange mode. What is that? Where the X number of flippers. That was the qualifying. Now, the game is Godzilla. So what exactly is a PinClash? Well, according to their website, it's an open qualifying single elimination head-to-head pinball tournament for pinball streamers. The machine, again, as I said, is Stern's Godzilla. And you can find all this on PinClashTourney.com or just Google PinClash. You can get more information. But there's a qualifying part of this between February 17th through April 2nd. You have to actually stream to have this qualifying be legit to qualify for the tournament. The tournament actually being May 13th on IE Pinball. So the format of this is two competitors battle heads up. Well, I'm just going to read this from the same title from separate locations over a total of 3 matches. Each player will receive a point value based upon their performance in each match. The player with the higher point value at the end of the round advances. The player with the lower point value is eliminated. Hey, welcome to a tournament. So what is this one specifically? This PinClash is based on the best one-ball Tokyo Carnage bonus. More details are on the actual website itself, but when I mentioned earlier in the premium level and the Discord can help me decide what to do with some of this money, why not start off with one of the awesome, very successful, previous tournaments, if you will, challenges, this PinClash tournament. And with the momentum of Indisc being so popular on Twitch and the partner and all that, let's keep this going. So the Pinball Party podcast donated for a bounty. A bounty is part of this actual tournament, kind of a side prize pool. There is prizes for obviously what aforementioned the rules and what we're doing with the Carnage bonus, but there is also bounties, smaller bits. So for the Pinball Party podcast's role in this, it is the highest unmultiplied Tokyo Tank Carnage bonus. If you get the highest unmultiplied Tokyo Tank Carnage bonus, you will get $100, courtesy of the Pinball Party podcast. And actually, as I say this, a new update is there is a, this is pretty sweet, for those who listen to the Triple Drain podcast out there. Fantastic podcast. Their theme song is shit and all that, but it's a great podcast. They donated as well, and what you get from them is $100 plus a comfy. Yeah, Travis's patented, if you will, comfy. And the qualifying for this prize is pretty sweet. It's awarded to the person whose score is exactly in the middle of all submitted score. So the average, man, that's awesome. For the commoner out there, for the common man, your average prize is $100 plus comfy. So better prize than mine, but yeah. Triple Drain, thanks for sponsoring PinClash, and Pinball Party's doing that as well. So everyone get your Godzilla streaming on and qualify for PinClash. I would say that going in reverse order, Carl has things figured out. When it comes to streaming and getting all these things organized, and the Indis, the PinClash, and frankly, he's a fantastic player himself. Can he qualify for his own? I hope he does. I hope you do, man. I hope you meme the shit out of it and you win. You win all this stuff. But no, really, Carl D'Angelo, awesome streamer. Awesome voice and face of all this recently. And anyway, yeah, there's plenty more out there that do it as well. But just to shine a little spotlight on Mr. Figure It Out himself, Carl D'Angelo. Figured out. Well, Jason, if we started with the positive, there must be another side of this. Is there anyone out there? Don't worry. Yeah, there's some people out there that need to figure it out. Figure it out. Now, for those who don't know, I go through games quickly. And recently I had a Lord of the Rings limited edition, which, it was so awesome. Yeah, for its time. When I posted it finally for sale and trade, there was, as you can imagine, a ton of interest. But there was a couple doozers. One, the person reached out very kindly. Hey, good morning. Is it on the first floor? Would you be available for me to see? All the standard questions. And I said immediately, yes, I would. It's really easy to get. I can help it, load it out. Don't worry about it. They immediately respond. Sounds like it won't be an issue. Great. I'll let you know when I can be there today. Thanks. I wait a few hours and just reply back like, hey, I got a few others interested, but you were the first one messaged, so, just wanted to, show market sale pending, what time you're going to be here. Oh, not at this time, sorry. What? Two things. That's not the answer to my question, which was like, hey, do you want me to market sale pending? Just say no, I guess. And two, you just said, literally, I'll be there later today, and then you say not at this time. Figure it out.
Figure it out.
Nothing against him. It just that was a very quick turnaround of very interested to be there today, and then not at this time. Okay. Well, I thought I made decisions and indecisions quickly, but this guy's got me beat. Now, within the same day, I got another one that puzzled me a bit. It had one sentence, no capitalization, no punctuation, and here's what it said: "Trade you my Tron." Trade you my Tron. Lowercase, just trade you, one statement. And I'm like, okay, is that do you want to trade me your Tron for this Lord of the Rings? Maybe some more details. Is this a question? Is this a statement? I didn't know. I didn't know how to respond, and I had plenty of interest, so I go on responding to others. Apparently, I didn't respond to this person fast enough, so they messaged me again within an hour. Here's what the next message said. I'll read it. I'll pull it up here. Trade you my Tron. All lowercase, no punctuation. What, dude? I don't know what you want. Is Tron one of the games I want badly? You bet. And I'm really always in the market for it because I've never had it. It's a great game and I want to get it. But a lowercase statement does not really indicate to me that you're very motivated for this thing. Or as they say in Always Sunny, you have a tenuous grasp on the English language in general. So as a surprise to no one, that deal did not end up happening.
Figure it out.
Trade you my Tron. Now, as a first for the Pinball Party, this is from an email submission, actually. A third party, figure it out, if you will. From Ken and Jules, a.k.a. Traveling Foxes. They sent in an email. Hey, we are Ken and Jules from Australia, and we absolutely love your podcast. Straight to the point, no fluffy, and happy to call shit out when appropriate. Awesome listening. Your last interview with Scott Denisi was brilliant. We are very fortunate to have a shit ton of machines, and as a trauma/ICU nurse for over 30 years, man, shit, utilize pinball to try and calm the head, as I believe you understand fully, which I totally do. More power to you. Your job is more important than mine. So without fucking around any further, let us tell us what you reckon. We have an older Rescue 911 Gottlieb on our market over here. Our market is really fucking expensive compared to the US. So on average, they sell for around $5,000 to $5,500, which is about $2 US. This is in really good condition, so we have it put on $6,200, expecting the good old haggle to occur. And then he goes on about posting it and all that. I'm not going to say some of it just because, for the sake of privacy for some. But essentially, they put this on Gumtree at 6.25, expecting to be haggled down to, the appropriate 5.5 as you do. However, they had someone who did not like seeing that post, and they basically messaged them publicly saying, please stop listing this so much because of yada yada, all these reasons. So on behalf of the Traveling Foxes, here is a Pinball Party Podcast honorary. Figure it out.
Figure it out.
Don't shoot the messenger, but I guess figure it out.
Figure it out.
So what's happening currently in the news of pinball? Well, we are playing the waiting game again. We're Craig Bobbying all this. Bond is supposed to be on the line pretty soon, right? It's coming very soon. Scooby-Doo, we saw the gameplay. It looks family friendly, I'll say that. Not bad. Maybe long ball times. The shots look, I don't want to say easy because I don't know, from this bird's eye view, from the gameplay I saw, it looks fun. It looks like if you'd walk up to a kid's game, like, hell yeah, I'm going to play this. The drop target and the drain spot in between the two flippers is interesting. Does it make the ball times longer? Yes. But I like that they talked about how you can load it almost like a ball lock so it can have a few. Was this done in the past? I don't know if it was. I haven't seen it or heard of it. That's kind of a cool innovation. But beyond Spooky's Scooby-Doo and the Bond 60th, between JJP probably having something soon, maybe, CGC as well, and American Pinball. What else is going on? Well, for those who listen to, or I guess who don't listen to pinball podcasts outside of the Pinball Network, Loser Kid recently had Keith Elwin on, which was awesome to hear from him again. For those who don't listen to the Loser Kid Pinball podcast, it's awesome. I would go check it out. Lots more information from the man himself, Keith, out of his mouth into that microphone. But a few highlights I took note of when talking about his next game. I think in order of is one, because some of the schedules got pushed around I guess the long story short on this is that they had more time for the game. What does that mean? Well, when Keith's game does inevitably come out, which will not be in 2023, as he mentioned, it will be 2024 at the soonest. When it does come out, it should be basically done because they had so much time in the oven, will the code come out at 1.0? I mean, he didn't confirm, but from what he was saying, again, go listen to Loser Kid Pinball Podcast. It sounds like, it's basically going to be done. When he made mention to when Godzilla came out, it was like 0.8 something, even though that was pretty fucking great, this one's going to be even better. When asked, hey, this is a tall order to the best game of all time, yours previously, Godzilla, are you up for the task? And basically, he is always trying to better his last game. So, he wasn't going into like, oh, that's a tall order. That's never going to happen. Which to me, if I'm reading between the lines, he has confidence. He learns from his previous games, the positives and the negatives. And it sounds like just a great designer would do, improves upon, reiterates, as one should. So beyond knowing it's not going to come out this year in 2023, when it does come out, it should be pretty much good to go and maybe even better than Godzilla. Another nugget, when they asked how many flippers are going to be in the game, did he dance around this question? Not really. It seems like he's trying to be very forthcoming. It will be more than 2 flippers. It sounds like 2 full-size flippers and 2 other-sized flippers. And another little nugget is on one side of the playfield, there will be 3 flippers. Not, 2 on one side, 2 on the other, but at least on one side, 3 flippers. Another question that came up, this was more on the Bond talk about ramps. This game will have ramps. Keith Elwin's next cornerstone will have ramps. Yeah, surprise, surprise. But he had mentioned that they even, because of all the time they've had for designing it more than normal, he's redone some of the way that the current ramps work. So, sounds like he's trying to innovate again. And that just, awesome. Still innovating, improving, more time to make the game. A couple T's on the flippers. And I guess the only negative, if this is a negative, is that we have to wait a little longer. So while we wait on that and our fantastic upcoming guests, can I just talk about my love for Jurassic Park, the pinball machine? And I want to give my kind of history with that game. I hesitate to say it's an important thing. It's not important. To me, it's interesting how that game came to be, I'll just say, one of my favorites. If not, I would actually, say it is my favorite pinball game to play of all time. I say that kind of slow and deliberately because Lord of the Rings is my favorite theme, but that's kind of in and outside of pinball. So as far as, I guess, who am I defending this to? It doesn't matter. Jurassic Park has just become kind of the game that I'm quite certain, from having to play it so much and even dealt with a lot of problems. Honestly, on my current machine that I bought new, I truly have a lot of new in-box problems with it that I'm working through Stern with. All those things aside, wow, I don't know. That game is just, it's the game, I would say, for me. If I thought that bolting Lord of the Rings was kind of the thing, from a theme and just kind of like a gem standpoint, a nice piece of furniture, that is. But Jurassic Park really, truly is my favorite game to play. But when I said my kind of story with it, here's how it goes. When it was released, if somehow anyone doesn't know out there, let me just start by saying Stern's Jurassic Park was released in 2019 by famed game designer Keith Elwin, software by Rick Nagel, animation Chuck Ernst, who I've actually met. Maybe a story for another time. So the game came out, with a lot of hype online because a lot of people like the theme, and like everyone else, I saw it first online and like, oh, okay, this looks promising. And the theme in the beginning was fine. I'll talk more about the theme later, but I was like, okay, it's Jurassic Park. It's Jurassic Park. Who doesn't? It's not like I hate it. So cool, it's Jurassic Park. I grew up, I was born in 82, for those who want to know. So when Jurassic Park came out, I'm not even going to Google it. I was at an age where dinosaurs are fucking kick ass. In this movie, the CGI was, second to none at that point. So, I don't have this overwhelming love for the Triceratops or anything, which actually, I guess, is my favorite dinosaur. But I digress. it gets announced, and you start reading, this game's fantastic. It's from Keith Elwin, who, Iron Maiden was top notch, and this is even better and all that. And just like, oh my God, across the board. So when I first played it, it was at Tilt Pinball in Minneapolis. A lot of my first pinball plays are there. I go there, and again, everything I read online is, oh, it's amazing. The T-Rex head and all this, and a couple things like, oh, tight shots. And like, okay, whatever. I don't care about tight shots. Like, whatever. Get good. Scrub. But I go there and I play it, and I completely hated it. Nothing. Didn't like anything about it. I found like all I did was I kept hitting the truck, the truck nuts, if you will, the two balls on the playfield that spin the truck. I kept hitting it, and then I got multi-ball. I'm like, okay, but every other shot I tried to hit, like I agree, tight shots, and like, okay, like the first game left one of the worst impressions, no joke, of any pinball machine I've ever played. Maybe because of the hype, and I was expecting so much more or whatever. But yeah, like, okay, in my mind, like I'd rather go play Iron Man or Star Trek Pro games at that point. I was so used to hitting the ramps and felt good and easy and all this, and like I had no love. Plus, the playfield seemed really dark. Because for those who don't know, Tilt Pinball Bars, it's a very dark and gloomy atmosphere. Gloomy like it should be, like a nice punk rock atmosphere. It's great, kind of like what we're gonna talk about soon with some of these electric bat folk. But it just wasn't a great experience. I get home, I Google some more stuff, and, just like, what am I missing? And whatever, time goes on. I never thought about that game forever. I was like, okay, well, I don't like that game. I don't like anything about Jurassic Park. Then I took a break from pinball. For those who have followed this podcast, there was like a year or so. I just so busy with recording. I just had no time or funds to put towards pinball. I didn't have anything. I was out of the game for a while. And when I came back in, it was, Godzilla was all the hype and all this. Again, Keith Elwin, like, oh, okay, great. I get Godzilla, I play it. I can see it. I get what it is. And then I'm introduced. This was, at the end of COVID. So right when the prices were insane of every pinball machine, just off the wall crazy. And like you couldn't get anything for, less than the price of a house. But I still had this, nagging feeling of I'm missing something with Jurassic Park. I don't know what it is, but I say all the price thing because one popped up around me that was a price that where if you bought it, even if you hated it, you won't lose money. In fact, you'll probably make like $100. Sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose. So it was kind of a no-brainer. And I was like, all right, YOLO, let's go get this thing. I'm an idiot, right? I played this game once and I don't like it, but I'm going to go spend at that time like $9,500 on this game. Fuck me, right? I go pick it up. Story for another time, but somewhat interesting. I get it back home and I play it as a premium. And what were my thoughts this time? This time I realized that T-Rex ramp, it was very easy to hit. And the lights were still kind of dim-ish for what I thought. And this time I took the time to learn the rules a little more. Okay, so it convinced me that, all right, it's not dog shit. At this point, I thought, all right, it's not dog shit. It's average. So I'm playing it. I'm like, okay, I can kind of see you got the paddocks and this and that. And, again, it wasn't wowing me. It was fine. It felt, honestly, a little hard from the right flipper to hit the T-Rex ramp. I don't know. It felt a little, I dare say, floaty in a way, but I could still tell some of these shots are hard. But I was starting to think like, well, okay, that helicopter or helipad shot is really cool from the left flipper. The third flipper shot to that tower is okay. I see a couple things here. Then another opportunity came up. I don't remember the game. I could look in Pinside or whatever. Long story short, I sold it or traded it or whatever. I got rid of it because it just, okay, cool, whatever. But when it left, I realized, one thing I did like, that game was really good about not a lot of hurry-ups, which I don't love in pinball. I don't like hurry-ups for some reason. I do like important hurry-ups, like the missile in Jurassic Park. That is, to me, my favorite hurry-up of all time. Smart missile. For those wondering what I'm talking about. The smart missile is fucking phenomenal. And at that time, all I thought was, okay, you get a smart missile, and then like whatever it shows that's what maybe you might get. Like, okay, so, I get rid of it and retroactively think like, okay, I could see this game coming to my collection via a trade or something, but it's not something I'm going to scoff at, but I'm also not going to like actively look for it. Fast forward to, I don't know, 6 months, a year later, I had a trade for something, I don't remember, but I got a Jurassic Park Pro as part of the trade. It was more so, okay, I'll try this game a little more, and it's one of those games that's easy to get rid of again. But this was a turning point. I got one that was super modded out in the right way. They put like 5 additional spotlights in the game. Very like soldered spotlights, not just alligator clamps. It's really well done. The playfield was lit up like a basketball court. It was fantastic. It had all those yellow and black striped. I think it's Tilt graphics. That kind of package was like, whoa! This like when you get that whole package, it really makes that game look nice. So first visuals like, holy shit, this game looks a lot better than I remember. And I played it. And I also thought, holy shit, this game shoots so good. It feels like faster than the last one I had. And none of that floaty, none of that. And long story short, again, for those who have listened to a previous, Flippergate, as I called it, Jurassic Park, the Jurassic Park Pro flippers are both stock at 255 power, where the premium on the right flipper is 235. So there is a difference in power. And please, PSA, I want to either get Keith on here or find out why. I know there's a reason. Why is it that the right flipper on the premium is 235 and not 255? Why? I just want to know. Is it for the T-Rex so that the mouth doesn't bash it? Is it for the Raptor gate? I just want to know. I want to know the reason, because I turned that shit back up to 255 in the premium. But so I got this Pro and I could see everything. It felt really good. And there was kind of no monetary burden to me. So I was like, I'll just play the hell out of this thing for a while, because why not? It's, compared to the other ones, it's cheaper, it's easier to get rid of. It's just something different, when it's almost feels like it's not yours and you don't have to worry about it, you enjoy it more. Because instead of a piece of furniture, it's a game. And I could not get enough. I shit you not. I could not get enough. I'm like, oh my God, I'm learning these shots. They're tight in the best way. I was changing my mind the first day I had it. I'm like, oh no, I got to get a premium back. So I fucking did. And for 3 days, I had a Pro and a premium sitting next to each other. And that's when I was doing the whole Flippergate thing, because when I got the premium, my heart sunk. I was like, this is the game I want now. I love this. But the right flipper felt fucked. I did a whole, mech swap. I did a whole flipper swap between the two games, and I never had checked the power. I did a whole, oh, fuck, the premium still sucks. What the hell? So then I sold the premium right away. Like, something's wrong with me. I ended up getting rid of the Pro via trade. And, like, okay, I got to figure this out. I got to figure it out. So while that game was gone, I just wanted to get a premium back. I thought maybe the premium I had just gotten was a lemon. Like, the flippers were fucked. So I'm like, okay, and I did it, for those listening to podcasts, I was like, all right, I'm trying to find one again, and those prices are high. Finally found a premium again, got it home, flippers felt weird. Here's what happened. I asked George Fisher, check your Pro, what's the flipper power? I found out Flippergate, yada, 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 premium. There we go. Perfect. All right, here's the game I like. So it took a shitty first experience at Tilt to where I wanted nothing to do with it, to me taking a break, to thinking there's got to be something about this game, to then getting it and seeing a little more, and then like, okay, not enough. And then getting a Pro. It was the Pro that sold me on the game because it had a snappier feel. There's no T-Rex to worry about slowing it down, but the Raptor gate not being there was really like, that's the thing. And take or leave the T-Rex, it gets old after a while. But the Raptor gate, man, that's just, oof, that kind of does it for me. So the plan was, all right, I'll finally find a premium that plays well. And now I did, and now I have one. Well, does it play well? No, because there's a lot of things wrong with it out of the box, which sucks. They're getting fixed, but yeah. But here's why I really, really love the game. And yeah, I think it's my favorite game. And it's the most confident I've felt in a long time on any pinball machine to really say, like, yeah, it is. Iron Maiden was my previous Keith favorite, and this just is kind of trumping everything. If I take all the times I've owned Jurassic Park and combine them, it's the game I've owned the longest, next to Lord of the Rings, which I just consider a different thing entirely. But here's why I love it. The shots all are hard enough for someone who likes to. I consider myself, I guess, above average player. You know, I'm not a tournament player or any means, but you know, I do this enough to where I play enough to where I can hang. You know what I mean? So they're hard enough for someone that's above average to make it a challenge. There's also a couple easy enough shots, but the kinetic satisfaction in that game, oh my God, from the helipad and the tower shot from the third flipper, forgive me if that's not what it's called, to when you do actually get it in the T-Rex mouth, even though it's not a big deal, sometimes it's really cool how it's right in there. The way you can combo the shots from like the spitter orbit, you know, the center, to the right flipper, the upper right flipper, then to the tower shot, back to the left flipper, then to the extra ball ramp, the right ramp, all the way back to you can just, oh my God, when you're in the zone in that game, there's nothing that plays better than that. And then there's enough clunk to keep you on your toes, right? I mean, those shots are tough. So the shots alone feel incredible. The hurry up that I mentioned earlier, the smart missile that I love it even more now, is that I was unaware that when you get the smart missile, you can change the awards. I don't know. It's just not intuitive. I don't know if I was watching a tutorial or what. That once the smart missile starts counting down, you hit that action button, you can change between, you know, clear the paddock, get +5 rescues. And, you know, the more you learn about the code, you realize which parts you want at what time. And the first 2 times I had that game, I could never hit the smart missile. I don't know. But now I can hit it at a pretty good rate. You know, I mean, 20 or 30%. Even when the ball, you know, the truck is in the incorrect way that you would want. For those who know the game, you know what I'm talking about. You can hit it enough to where when you hit it, oh my God, it feels so good. It feels so good. It's like Warp Ramp 9 level feel good. And yes, there are other hurry ups in the game as far as, you know, you want to get rescues before a dinosaur kills it. And there's the modes on the left are timed, the virus attack and power and all that. But they're not like, for example, Star Wars, where like everything is like, oh my God, beep, 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 get it. Oh, beep, 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 beep. Okay, you know, it's like, oh my God, frantic. Like, I like a game that if you want, you can play it fast and furious. Or if you want, you can just kind of hang out and like, all right, let me take my time, hit these shots, do what I want to do. And that game and its rules lends itself so well to, I guess, my style of, yeah, if I want to play something hard and fast and all that kind of stuff, I'll Iron Man, Black Knight, all that, I'll do that, Tron, whatever. But this game is like, you can do that, or, okay, let me hit these shots, all right, line it up, post pass, set this up, get this going, stack some stuff, get Chaos almost there, get T-Rex almost there, all right, I'll get the Raptor pin down, all right, I'm going to line that up, I'm going to get Paddocks, and this time, you know, I'm going to go for the T-Rex because I just need that extra ball. Or maybe I'm going to take a straight shot to the visitor center. You can kind of play it different every time. Or like, hey, I'm going to just try to get scores. So when the T-Rex multi-ball comes up, I'm going to hit the red shots first. And then you can play that game in so many different ways. So the rules are just, for me, it's a warm blanket. The shots are hard enough and good enough. And when I said I was going to come back to the theme, while it might not be my favorite theme, it's the right theme for a game where it's like right in the middle. When it's something you're so emotionally attached to, at least in my experience, like Lord of the Rings, you expect so much. You expect it to like, no shit. I guess I don't even know how to explain. Like, oh, it's going to change the way I feel about things when I own it. Things will be better. You know, I'm building myself up for just a reality that doesn't exist. It's a thing. I get it. And I'm like, my life is now improved, right? No, it's not. And it's like I put my expectations of this life-changing theme to elevate everything, and okay, it's not. Or the opposite is themes that are just terrible. Black Knight Sword of Rage for me, the theme isn't terrible, don't get me wrong, but it's not like a TV show or something you grew up with. And that was a game too where I was like, oh, this is going to suck. And then you play it like, okay, I love this game. But Jurassic Park is right in the middle to where it's a theme that like, yeah, I like the theme. You know, do I have a Jurassic Park shirt? No. Do I like the movies? Sure. I mean, maybe not the latest couple, but I have a soft spot for the original. And it's not a bad theme. It's a theme that kind of anyone is like, oh yeah, dinosaurs are badass. So like whatever. It's a theme that doesn't get old because it's not shitty. And it's a theme that doesn't like you don't have too much expectations for, because you're so like, oh, I revolve around this theme. You're like, Lord of the Rings, I've made some maps and I got statues of it, and it's just a very, a sentimental story to me for other reasons. And so sometimes it can't live up to that expectations in a pinball, or I expect it to be more than what it is, and it can't ever do that. So the theme almost gets in the way of enjoyment for me personally. It's just a thing. And what a first world fucking problem. Jesus. This game isn't great because my God. All right. I feel stupid even saying it, but yeah. So Jurassic Park has gone from, for me, absolute terrible, don't get it, to this is my favorite game for so many reasons. And the one thing I mentioned was the lights. I have to add spotlights to it. It's not a make it or break it, but I just think it really elevates it to light it up. The only thing I don't like personally is a super first world problem is the Stern art blades. A lot of art blades I like in games that Stern makes, but Jurassic Park, I like the third-party ones better, the ones that look like the LE art blades with the blue and how the hanging leaves in the back really line up with the back, so you can get them from like Retro Refurbs or Wizard Mod. Those ones to me look better than the Stern ones. The Stern is just two big eyeballs. It seems like they kind of just, hey, let's just do this and be done with it. Didn't put a lot of thought into it, and it sucks when you have a game so high quality like that. You want to do all the Stern stuff, when you list it, or you just feel like it's complete because it's Stern, all the Stern accessories. That one, I don't know, art blades just don't do it for me. So again, I just wanted to really go off a little bit on Jurassic Park, and it's kind of just been top of mind, top of play, and interesting back from it being shit to it being kind of my favorite game, and it took a very strange path to get there. Well, thanks, Jason, for talking our fucking ears off about Jurassic Park. Let's talk to our amazing friends, and, one of them a newcomer, from Electric Bat Arcade. And some of this was too good to not keep in, so we are going to join the three of us mid-conversation.
Anal beads.
Fuck.
Anal beads and chess. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, you might want to record that.
Oh, it's recording, baby.
Yeah, you say you haven't heard about this thing where the chess, some famous chess guy took on like the champion, the Magnus or whatever his name is, and he won by putting vibrating anal beads in, and he had like people were sending him messages via the anal beads.
Incredible.
Yeah, we just learned about this. It's a rat hole.
So the chess game itself wasn't stimulating enough. He needed people like buzz my colon, fucking keep me going. Oh man! See, if someone had told me that, I'd be like, "Oh, that's crazy. I would wish that would happen." But Morse it happened. Code is incredible.
I think they should all do it. I want to see what we control the beads.
Right. or Twitch does.
Yeah. There we go.
Well, I'm pretty sure that's how all the cam sites work. So if they're just combining.
Same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So PinClash, which I talked about earlier in the episode. Okay, Carl, get on that. We got some remote beads in people's asses when people are playing Godzilla.
Let's go.
Not it.
Well, hey, welcome, Cale and Rachel, to the Pinball Party Podcast. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks you for having us.
Yeah, of course. Well, Cale, this is what, your fifth time?
Is it?
Bullshit?
Man.
I think
that's it.
You're a regular.
Thank you. I'm getting a lot of accolades. A lot of people are coming into the arcade who I've never met before, saying I love listening to you on Jason's Pinball Party podcast. And no joke.
Fucking, that is honestly, that's weirder than the anal beads thing.
Yeah, it's super weird. Yeah,
in my opinion. And Rachel, Bess, thank you. This is your first time. I've been asking for you to come on. Thanks for joining.
First time. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I finally got over all the coughing, so I can talk for more than 2 consecutive minutes without coughing.
Was it? I forget. Was it COVID, or you got like everything over Christmas, right, or the holidays?
Yeah, I don't think it was COVID. We got just kind of the general. I worked for 90 days straight on the expansion, and those were mostly 12+ hour days. So I think I got. My body was like keeping everything out until I got it done, the expansion done, and then everything just came all at once. So
for those who don't know, Rachel and Cale are, co-owners of Electric Bat Arcade
Yes.
in Arizona, which previous listeners know all about it. And for those who don't, that's what we want to talk about. But can I ask this? I don't remember where I heard it. Maybe it was Doc in our text or something. When it comes to like social media presence in the pinball world, there's like Jack Danger and then you guys. As far as like popularity and followers and all that, is that true?
I mean,
No, I don't think we're above Jack.
Yeah. All right.
No, I love Jack, but he's just doing different things. He's, with Twitch, he's the king when it comes to pinball.
But people love your shit. I mean, if they're listening enough to come in and say it's nice to meet, like that's crazy to me. It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm blown away. Yeah.
we see people wearing Electric Bat shirts like at the farmer's market and like places you wouldn't, that it's weird, right? Like
It's awesome. I think it's a testament to what you guys are doing. And I mean, it's busy enough to where you had this, as you mentioned, this expansion. Rachel, tell me a little bit about like what did you went from how many games to now how many games, and what was that?
So just pinball machines, we went from about 30 to about 60 pinball machines on the floor in Tempe. So there's also a bunch of other like rhythm games and stand-up arcades, all of that stuff. But this is the pinball podcast. So the pinball machines doubled. We doubled in size. And this was the original arcade was a really, really skinny little galley arcade. Just kind of there was only, I think, 13 pinball machines in the very original incarnation of Electric Bat. And then that doubled. Wow. And then we doubled again. So like now, if we want to add any more room, we've got to tear down a block wall and take over a Circle K next door. So
when you went from 30 to 60 machines, did you have, I have 30 more in my spare bedroom, or
yes,
did you have some?
We not in a spare bedroom. We had them in storage at the house. Our buddy Mark has some of those machines, and so he brought some in. But yeah, we buy, we don't sell.
Yeah, I do both in a habitual manner, and it sucks. So I okay. So give me a brief history of Electric Bat. Like from I'm very new to this thing relatively. The last 5 years of being deep in this hobby, but from the Marco background and all that. Tell the listeners, like, you guys come from pinball blood.
Yeah, so I started Electric Bat in October of 2018. March of 2018, the guys that own Yucca Tap Room, the dive bar we're attached to, is they came to ZabCon, which is pinball and arcade convention that I co-founded, and we're talking to some people saying, hey, we really want to have an arcade in our bar, and how do we do it? And everybody just kept pointing them to me. They asked me to meet with them. I think I was elbows deep in a machine at the time, like working on something. Said like, not now, I'm busy. And I kept kind of putting it off, but I eventually met with them and I said, listen, I don't have time to like do your arcade, but I would love to help you out with like, here's how I think it should go. Here's what you need to do. Here's some games I would have. And like, just kind of the outline of what it would mean to have an arcade in a bar. Yeah. And then, their eyes, like, really, like, you could tell they were overwhelmed and were not interested in doing all that. And so they kept asking me, and I eventually said, yeah, okay, what the hell, I'll do it. So that's how it started. At the time, I think I was working for Marco at the time. I must have been, yeah. And then I met Cale basically 6 weeks after I opened the arcade. At Marco as well? At Marco.
Yep. Yeah. Over Skype or Zoom Slack, or something?
Some kind of intra-office.
Yeah, I was living in South Carolina working at Marco, and she was working remotely. And so we met over, the computer. and
Yeah.
And for those who don't know Marco, what is Marco?
Marco Specialties is one of the largest pinball parts distributors and manufacturers in the world, based in a little tiny town in South Carolina, Lexington, South Carolina. And I started working there as a graphic designer, and I would help people on the phone, like find parts and fix their machines. And at this point, I had never opened a machine. I learned how to fix machines by helping people on the phone, just by going through manuals, reading books, and we had a great database of information at Marco. Most fun part of the job was really recreating old parts. They'd find old plastics and decals that were no longer in production, and I would redraw them and then recreate them at work. And then, we'd sell them to people. These are parts that, you could no longer find. And the company was started by Mark Mandeltort, who is no longer with us. And it was great to work with him and learn about the history of, deep history of pinball from him while we were on the road together, and doing all the Marco / Stern pinball booths. That's where Rachel and I first met in person. She was managing me. They hired her to keep me under control on the road.
Didn't work.
Yeah, me and Steve and Marco and the whole crew.
Yeah, so I was working in Arizona at the time. I was just working remotely, and it was my job. Basically, the bulk of my job was the shows. So I would travel to, I think it was like 16 different pinball and arcade shows around the country and Canada, and do that. So yeah, they hired me to corralling Cale was part of the.
You corralled the shit out of him. Apparently, married him.
So did we like knew each other for like 2 weeks before we got married? I might
Hell
be exaggerating.
yeah.
I don't know, but it was close to that.
No, so it was 2 weeks that we had from when we met in person to when we were gonna get married, but you got the flu.
That's right.
So it ended up being
get
like
wrecked.
4 or 5 weeks. But yeah, we between when we saw each other and got married, it was basically just enough time to get the rings off of Etsy.
I actually asked her to marry me on Slack, and then she kind of blew me off. And
Right.
yeah, and so
Right. What do you? Wait a minute. What did you say? Like, hey, so you're like Slack, like, hey, what's up? Emoji, like, quick question for you. Yeah. Will you marry me? Like, see you later. Well, what the fuck?
It was super sincere, but I mean, nobody does this. I was like, listen, we have to get married. This will work because just her organizational skills are second to none, and I needed that help. And
the romance abounds.
And
yes.
just, I was just a huge fan of her art. And I knew people who could paint like that just look at things differently. They look at the world differently. And I needed this in my life. And also she's sweet and beautiful and kind, all those other things. And you have to come with me on this journey. I need you. And she eventually said yes.
Yeah, it seemed like a good idea. He's funny.
Was it paragraphs of Slack, like convincing her, like what you just said, like, oh yeah, but wait, don't say no yet. Here's a bunch of paragraphs.
That's the thing. It was short. It was like there wasn't even full sentences.
Like, cool.
No, and I did not agree to marry you on Slack because that would be
correct.
Yeah, that would be correct. Is what exactly the correct thing is to not accept a proposal on Slack.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, clearly you needed someone with brains. No offense.
Right.
But then he tricked me. So I had to fly in to South Carolina. We had some work stuff to do, and there was a few of us flying in. So before I had stayed at the Mandeltort house. So Mark and Nancy. I mean, Marco, you have to understand, especially at this time, it was a very tight-knit, small family of people. So whenever I flew in and I would stay in their what used to be their daughter's bedroom. I mean, she's still their daughter. She doesn't live there anymore.
Sure.
And so this time there was more of us flying in, and Cale realized, like, well, I've got some extra beds. Maybe I could put these women up. And I'm like, I'm not going to stay with this dude. I don't know him. Like, that's creepy. I'm not doing this.
This is pre-Slack proposal, or is this post?
Oh, God. I don't know. Probably was post, but I didn't take it seriously.
Right.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to be staying with him. But Cale got Mark to give him like $500 or something. Because that was going to save Mark money from having to put us in a hotel. So Cale knew the angles. You're like, well, here, I can do it. And then Cale had a massage chair. Yeah, and he was sending me pictures of this massage chair. Like, listen, you get your own bed. I'm not going to be weird or whatever. And it's going to be a bunch of us. You'll be fine.
I'm not going to be weird.
I don't think he said it like that, right? Like
but yeah.
But he did. He's like, I've got a massage chair, and he did not know. But I love massage chairs. That sounds real weird. But I was so excited about this massage chair. I'm like, what could happen?
I'll marry you.
What could happen?
You got a massage chair.
You got a massage chair. I will. You should tell him, Cale, where that massage chair came from. That's kind of an interesting story right now. But
I didn't have the kind of money to afford something like that. I got it from a guy I used to work for, Dick Harpootlian, who is an attorney in South Carolina who is defending Alex Murdaugh right now in the trial that's going on right now. So he's a good buddy of mine, and he hooked me up with a chair, which landed me Rachel.
So thanks, Dick Harpootlian, for the roundabout way of us getting married. Cale's worked for a lot of weird. He's got a strange past.
So you got this chair from Daredevil is kind of what I'm
right.
hearing.
That's basically it. Yeah.
All right, you two pinball lovebirds. You mentioned before, Cale, a few episodes ago, like Bond was outpacing even Godzilla or all this because it's just so hot. How is it doing now? Like, not dollar amounts, but is Bond still hot right now?
Well, now we have two of them in the arcade. We have the Pro and the Premium. And Rachel will tell us how things are doing because she keeps track of all the spreadsheets.
Because Cale didn't know. So right now we're waiting for the ice to thaw up in Flagstaff, and we're taking the Pro up there. The two of them together are the highest earner right now by a good bit. Each on their own, they're still in the top 5 or 6 earners. So Bond is doing very well right now.
And is that something that often happens with new games, regardless of theme or gameplay, or is this?
Yeah, anytime you put something new in the arcade, it's going to do well.
Okay.
Well, I mean, almost always.
What are the top 3 earners right now?
So Bond for sure is up there. Godzilla still reigning champion. Godzilla has been either the top earner, or there might have been 1 month where it was second, but I can't think of what that would be. Dialed In.
No shit.
Our good friends at Jersey Jack would love to hear that Dialed In is a top earner this month.
What the fuck? Are you guys... I guess maybe I shouldn't say that, like, what the fuck, but Dialed In... To me, I think Dialed In's probably their best, playing game. Do you charge different for, like, let's say an EM versus a JJP, or is it all, like, 50 cents, or what's your...
Dialed In is straight dollar play. The Sterns right now are $1 or 3 for 2, although that may start to change soon, because our parts bill is getting pretty extreme. All of the...
And when you say parts bill, are you saying, like, rubbers, lights, broken ramps, or...
Yep, all the stuff we have to buy. I put in an order... Probably about 3 orders a month for parts. We order a lot.
You buy from Marco?
From Marco.
Yeah, nice.
It's a hefty order. Every month we're spending, you could buy a new pinball machine with what we spend in 6 weeks or something on parts. I mean, not like a premium or whatever, but we're spending thousands of dollars in parts. But they cost different. So it is the numbers that I'm giving you for earnings are like the straight earnings, that doesn't necessarily reflect highest play, because Like the DMD era games are all 75 cents. And the classics, like Classic Bally, those are all 50 cents.
So I guess maybe I'm asking the wrong question, and forgive me if it's okay if you don't have this information. But do you know what is like the highest playing game? Like
It's still going to be like Godzilla and Bond stuff right now. People love that game, including
Pro or premium, or doesn't matter.
This is the premium that we have in Tempe. The Pro is up in Flagstaff. That's a whole different kind of set of numbers. That's a smaller town, smaller arcades. You know that those numbers are smaller across the board at the second location.
And do you have like bottom of the barrel, not to rag on games? I mean, I guess it's probably some old EMs that no one's heard of, or is there anything like popular people would be like, oh, I can't believe that doesn't do so well?
Yeah, so a lot of the solid states, they'll go through phases where they will earn less than the other games, but they're always pretty well played. People really enjoy playing like Dolly and Paragon, those types of games. So the ones that are kind of more of the modern era games that are not doing so well right now, Star Trek, Hot Wheels, Led Zeppelin, those are...
Hot Wheels, I was just texting someone about, like, it's one of my favorite games to not own but go play, because like I don't want to own it, but like I like shooting it.
I like it because it doesn't break down. That game is a tank.
Really?
We have had almost no problems with that game.
Is that standard with American, or
that's
is this
the only
like
American that we own? I have not heard such rave reviews about Valhalla. I've heard that game's got some more issues. But for whatever reason, Hot Wheels tank.
Yeah, the biggest problem we've had with Hot Wheels is connectors coming off with, just a little hot glue fixes that.
When you mentioned earlier the parts thing and how big of a bill it is, I know it's not it's probably a testament to Stern, like it's getting played so much that you have to fix stuff, which is probably great. Is there like a very common thing that like you expect, like, okay, I'm going to have to replace bulbs every month or rubbers, or is there like...
Yes, flipper parts you have to replace. And Cale he does most of our flipper repair, but coil stops, the linkage there, that snaps. Any part relating to a flipper breaks often.
That little bearing in the flipper link just will turn to dust all the time.
So it's way more, I guess, the moving parts that are really falling
there's
apart.
always like one or two more esoteric parts that I'll have to put it in order, but that may be on a 40-year-old game or something. So that's kind of expected. And the flipper parts, I just always order, we have our parts room is now kind of looks like we're Tiny Marco West or something. We have a lot of parts because I don't want a game down, so we have everything that is likely to go wrong, and then a few things that may go wrong. Try not to get yourself in a pickle.
We're super lucky to have a bunch of regular players. They can feel when the game is getting a little weird, and Rachel has a clipboard on the wall with a pen attached to it, and they'll write down, check left flipper on Godzilla, this and that, and it really helps us keep it in check to where we don't really have to have a regular schedule of checking things out.
All right, I want to ask more about Electric Bat Arcade, and I think a lot of people are interested in kind of how the on-premise or the location play is going. But first, before we do that, Cale, you've done this before, but since Rachel is new, I want to get to know, I guess, her balls.
Good deal. I'm excited.
Oh my.
We're getting to know her balls.
This is the first time that we've gotten to know a female's balls, but it still plays. It's first. What is your favorite current game? And I guess I should preface with, I guess it could be your top earner because awesome. Do you get to play a lot of games? If so, what is your favorite current game?
The game that I always go back to is Joker Poker. And that's partially because I don't usually let myself play games until I'm done working. And it's usually a pretty long workday. And at the end of a workday, I don't want to think about rule sets and complicated stuff. So Joker Poker is, there's just something about that, like ball 1, do this, ball 2, do this, ball 3, it's so simple and so challenging. So that's my all-time kind of go-to. Although I will say we just put one of the most beautiful meteors you've ever seen. Our buddy Mark brought that in. Cale and I have not played it yet. We put it in last night, and I think we're probably going to play that for a good couple hours today. So those two.
Joker Poker. That is okay. I've never played it. Now I want to.
Oh gosh, so good.
Well, to take a very dark turn, what is one of your biggest fears in life?
Burning down the arcade, I guess. That's a lot to go down. Yeah, big old fire.
Like a random fire.
Yeah, I wake up sometimes in the middle of the night and I'll check the cameras just to be sure that nothing's on fire. Yeah, we're in an old building, very old building. Lots of electronics. So big old fire. Don't want it.
But yeah, that's very acceptable. Awesome answer. What is your favorite era of pinball?
They are really, really good now. They have really got all the sound, all of the different parts. The technology now has gotten so much better that I would say now, either now or classic Bally, classic System 1 Gottlieb era.
So essentially anything from 2000 or 1995 to 2015. Fuck that shit. But
not quite. But yeah, those games are great. I mean, Addams Family is what got me into pinball. But those games are all wonderful. They're all great, right? But nobody wants that answer. Yeah. You're seeing new things with games now, new surprises that I haven't seen in, since Magnets.
I wonder how many people Addams Family is the game that got him in. It's got to be.
I'm guessing most of them, because the production numbers and the popularity at that time. I think that was the sweet spot. The peak where people who didn't play pinball played pinball.
Do you know a rough?
How many were made?
What?
It's 23,000 or something.
Yeah, 23, 24,000, something like that.
And nowadays, a good run is...
Well, we have no idea. They won't disclose the numbers.
Right.
Figure it out.
But I guarantee it's nowhere close to that, because we would hear it if it was.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. We've surpassed what's popular, right? So this is a necessity for you, owning a pinball arcade, but do you love, or hate fixing those games?
I love fixing them whenever it's a weird mystery and I solve it quickly.
Yeah. Okay. Emphasis on solve it quickly, right?
I hate fixing it if it's something. I will give you an example of a fix that I hated. Mandalorian has a diverter coil that, once you shoot it up that ramp to put it in the upper playfield area, the bracket that holds that coil on is made special for that game. You can't just order it's not an off-the-shelf part. Coil brackets, specifically coil stops, this all-in-one thing, there's no way that part's gonna hold up, especially with the crappy steel that is available these days. So when that broke, I can't just put it in a Marco order and get that part. They didn't have it at the time. So we had to take this whole thing apart and then take it to a welder to weld this piece back together. There's no reason for that. Though all heavy wear parts that are likely to break should be off-the-shelf parts. So that's just a pet peeve of not just myself. I'm sure every operator in the world, because that game has to be down for however long it takes me to get a part that I shouldn't have to.
And you can't get it from Stern, huh? They don't.
In short, no. There's not a quick way to get that part, and certainly not for just the casual, if you happen to have it in your home sort of thing, you would have a hard time getting that.
Speaking of hard times getting that, do you have any horror stories from the secondary market? I'm not sure how much of your games you guys buy new, or, you have to buy them from Joe Schmo in a dungeon somewhere, or
we buy games from people we know 98% of the time. And we've had just mostly great experiences buying them. The bad stories are the common stories. Maybe 8 years ago, I was selling. This is back when I did not have an arcade and so had to sell games to make room for new games. I had a Freddy, Nightmare on Elm Street. Everyone's favorite game. So I was selling that game, and I think at the time I was selling it for, let's say it was like $1,200. Dude came over, and I kind of knew this guy in passing. We had met before. I didn't know him well. Came over, was looking at it, looking all over. Yes, this is great. I want it. Okay. And we'd agreed upon the price. And then, actually, this is for my cousin. And I only brought $900 with me. Like, that's weird because that's not the price we agreed on. Right?
Right.
Don't do that. There's no reason to do that.
No.
Either agree on a price and pay the price. Don't show up and do the, I only had this much with me. And you hear about this from, like, everybody has experienced this that has sold a game.
I have.
So don't do that. It's not an exciting horror. It's not like me finding,
Dog shit on a playfield.
Right.
You're saying don't accept that, and on the other end, don't come with all your money. Yeah,
come with your money.
Yeah.
And
was it under the premise of like, oh, I'll send you $300 in the mail later in coins?
No, it was, I only have this much with me. Don't be that guy.
Yeah, thanks, guy. What a fuck. I'm gonna give him a
Figure it out.
So here's a recent purchase that Cale and I made that was kind of a hilarious, like, open it up, what have they done sort of thing. We bought this Medieval. It was actually a remake, so this was not the Medieval I grew up playing. It was beautiful, like not a scratch on it. We go to pick it up and notice that in place of the button to shoot the ball, there is a shooter rod. That doesn't work on Medieval. There's an auto, that's not how the game works. So we took it apart, and what they had done, now the bracket that holds that coil on the remake games, for whatever reason, tends to break a lot. We found out that the techs that had been working on these pinball machines in the past few years are the same mechanics that fix their go-karts. So they only know, pinball is not their skill set. So what they had done is, I think that bracket had broken. The coil was just dangling in the cabinet. My fear was that they had taken it out because there were some board issues. And on those remakes, that's all on that one big board. So that's a harder fix. They put in a standard shooter rod, and then to keep the balls from rolling back down into the cabinet, they used the plumb bob tilt ring. Like, so they just had the shooter rod going through a tilt ring, and so you couldn't. I mean, the multi-ball, I guess, is on your honor.
right.
Like,
on your honor.
The whole thing, there were some other issues with that game, but that one, we definitely had to take it apart. And all it was, it just ended up being putting it back together, putting a bracket in and making it work. They drilled some weird holes in the cabinet, but luckily those got, covered up and fixed. But that was a weird one.
Moral of the story is don't have go-kart guys fix your pinball machine.
Get it. I mean, techs are hard to find, but if you're going to have an arcade, you need to find one. There's not an option B.
So aside from good techs, what's something in life that you are grateful for?
Cale's pointing to himself. I am. I actually am super grateful for Cale for a couple of reasons. One of them, he has learned to fix things. I think so. Cale, the first time you ever fixed a machine, was that at Electric Bat? Was that me saying, like, pointing to stuff and saying, "Do this. This is what's wrong."
100%. Yep.
Right now, between both arcades, we have 75 or so pinball machines on the floor, and Cale and I do almost all that work. 90-something% of the work. So that's great. Also, he's real funny, so I don't get angry.
Yeah.
And also, I'm really grateful for our bed jet. Do you know what a bed jet is?
I don't.
Okay, so
what?
It's a heater / air conditioner for your bed. It's like a unit that goes underneath the bed. It's quiet. It doesn't, it's not like like an air conditioner or something.
Mm-hmm.
And you can set it to heat or cold. Like there's a remote for temperatures, and it comes on, and there's like a little duct that comes up and attaches to your mattress, and like a little very small duct, and it just gently blows either hot or cold air at whatever temperature you decide.
The cooling part of it is a must if you live in Phoenix.
All right, what is your least favorite game right now? Or is there one that just pisses you off, or you don't get why people like it?
Oh,
or
this
you
is,
don't wanna ever
I
play
know
it?
this is going to surprise you. It's going to blow you away.
All right, I'm ready.
Halloween. Any game that you
Jesus,
turn
you
it
too.
on and it starts smoking, there's no, I'm not going to go down, like, you've heard the Halloween complaints.
I have.
The game...
Does it work today?
No.
No, it's a boat anchor. We're actually we're trying to get it out of our workshop to make more room. I mean, we're on the verge of literally giving it to somebody just to get it out, get it away from us.
It's such a disappointment in ways that I find unforgivable. That, like, we have TNA. I love TNA. We have it's not that they weren't capable of making a machine. It's that maybe the people who were capable didn't work there. I don't know, but there's like a lot of laziness in our particular Halloween, like the build of it, build quality, like just weird screws and weird places, stuff that, like, if you would have just said, "Hey Rachel, will you just quickly look over this machine and tell me if you see something that you think might be a problem in the very near future for anyone trying to own this machine," I could have pointed out 10 things that are really, like, just rookie mistakes, like plastics that are a quarter inch, like where the pressure is put on them are like, there's only like a quarter inch of plastic there. Of course that's going to snap. The upper flipper, to get to the upper playfield flipper, you have to take off like
Two other playfields. Yeah,
to get to it. So anytime that I open up a pinball machine that is designed by somebody who has never worked on a pinball machine or has no empathy for somebody who's going to have to work on it down the line, I'm going to thank you, Keith Elwin, for never making machines that are hard to work on.
Speaking of Keith, I talked about him a little earlier. Did you guys listen to the Loser Kid podcast with him on it? If not, you should check it out.
I haven't yet.
It was like
no.
Genuine dude, but he mentioned that his game probably won't be coming out. Well, not probably. It won't be coming out this year. But on that note, what is something, I guess this is a question for both of you, but I want to start with Rachel. What's something you're looking forward to in 2023, pinball related?
Our tournaments are blowing up and we're meeting all kinds of new people. I'm really looking forward just to seeing who rolls through the arcade this year. It's been a blast just meeting the people that play pinball. Our new buddy Walt Wood, if anybody who is not familiar with him, look him up. Like, any of his videos of him playing, he is the most delightful person to watch play. He's hilarious. We're going to be streaming some more with him later this year. I'm really looking forward to that. He's awesome.
How about you, Cale?
A couple things. I'm looking forward, even after what we've said, I'm looking forward to Scooby-Doo. I'm going to get behind him. If it's great, you're going to hear it from me first. So I'm looking forward to getting that. I'm looking forward to taking our tournaments to 100 people a week. Right now, we're getting 70 to 80 people at our league. I'm looking forward to taking that to at least 100. The third, I'm looking forward to streaming more. We used to stream a lot during COVID shutdowns because we didn't have anything else to do. But I'm looking forward into getting more equipment, getting a wireless rig so we can stream some big tournaments, and I have some ideas for some really cool, like, invitational type tournaments with some skilled players that would be really entertaining.
How much, so when I mentioned earlier, I want to come back to a couple electric bat things. How much has Insider Connected helped everything? Do you use it for, I mean, I assume you have big TVs up on scoreboards and all that stuff. Are you full in on Insider Connected?
Love it. Yeah, we have a TV that scrolls through the top 10 on all of the Insider Connected games. We do like a monthly challenge on Insider Connected. I mean, just the further gamifying of pinball, that's awesome. I mean, anything that's going to like get that little dopamine reward system going, all of the achievements, all of the just being able to compare with your friends or your enemies. I love it. Yeah. I'm all in on Insider Connected.
Is there a missing feature that, I mean, maybe either will be made or something that you're like, that should really be there?
Yeah, I'd like to have it so that I could input a specific tournament parameters, and it does let you. The ones that we have, it starts at this time, ends at this time, and these are the games that are in it. But what we do is every month you get, like, if you have first place on the game, you get 10 points, second place, 9 points, third place, so on. So, but I have to like manually add all that up. I would love to have something in the software that would allow for different types of tournaments so that it would do all that math for me.
I want push notifications, and that's coming. I want an app with push notifications, so hey, Jim Bob just beat your score. So that, that'll make people run and want to, beat it.
Get on it. Yeah, go beat it. Do you guys have any big upcoming events or tournaments you want people to know about?
Yeah, we have weekly, every Tuesday night at 6:30. If you're in the Phoenix area and you like pinball, you need to be at Electric Bat Tuesday night at 6:30. We have a monthly bounty knockout tournament that our friend Chewy does. And that is the last Sunday of every month at noon. And it's cool because the buy-in's $6. You get a $5 poker chip. And whenever you knock somebody out, 4 strikes, you get their poker chip. So you get to win money off your friends. And the way that it works, you can win a bunch of money and not necessarily win the tournament. So it's you have 2 goals: winning money and winning the tournament.
Well, where's the best place to find you guys on the World Wide Web? Where should people find you?
Probably Instagram at Electric Bat Arcade on Instagram. We're also on Facebook, and we have a website where you can. I'm still updating all the games that Rachel has added to the arcade, so give me some time for that. But
and you're on Twitch. I've seen some of your streams, which are awesome.
Yeah,
and TikTok.
We're experimenting with TikTok. But the Twitch thing is super important because right now we have 2 videos of Walt Wood completing Jurassic Park and then rolling Dracula. I didn't even know you could. BSD, Bram Stoker's Dracula. I didn't even know you could roll it, but apparently, after 10 billion, there was nothing built into the software, so your score resets. So he actually rolled Dracula, which was cool. I've never seen that in person. And you can too if you head to our Twitch channel. That's Electric Bat Arcade, twitch.tv/Electric Bat Arcade.
Well, hey, Rachel, Cale, thanks for joining me. Thanks for being so honest and open about all that information about your arcade and your balls, etc.
Anytime.
See you guys later.
Thank you for having us, man.
You bet. And as always, it was awesome to talk to Cale, and thanks for bringing your better half. And I think it's pretty apparent that holds true here. Lots of information about a very, very popular and well-established arcade, which I have no experience doing, so thank you for sharing all that. A reminder to those out there to visit the Pinball Party Podcast Patreon. Help support the show. Let's give some of this back. Let's do what we can. PinClash coming up. That's going to be badass as shit. Go get my bounty. Go get your $100. Get a awesome tank bonus. And not to make light of it, I didn't even talk about the Pinball Awards, but go check out the video of the Pinball Awards. You'll see me giving away one of them. Awesome to meet a lot of those people in person. George Fisher, it was awesome doing some of that behind the scenes stuff with you. It was great to meet Joel and Zach and Greg and a couple of people I didn't want to meet, and pretty awesome. Well, until next time, go give me money on Patreon. Keep listening to the show. Send me emails at pinballpartypodcast@gmail.com. If you need music to listen to, you could do a lot worse than listening to Neon Dale. Spotify, Apple. Going back into the studio next week. Do another EP. Can't fucking wait. It's going to be awesome. So maybe I'll take a week off. Who knows? Maybe I'll do a podcast from there. We'll see. I don't know. I'll figure it out. See you later.
Figure it out.
When I buy my pinball shit, I buy from flipping out. From toppers or plates, I've got